Alright guys, this is a video response for ANDREWBALLINA. He's holding a kind of like a Halloween contest. The one thing I will say about the contest is that you have to be a current subscriber, but I suggest you should subscribe to him anyways. He does great heads up videos on new releases and pickup videos and horror reviews. So I will put a description, I will put a link to his channel in the description below. So go ahead and sub him up. Alright, for his contest, he had 3 questions. So I'll go through them real quick. So the first question is, what rare or out of print DVD that you do not own that you really would like to own? So for me, that would be Ilsa, the Wicked Warden, and this is the Anchor Bay VHS tape. I bought this originally back in 2000. See, look, it's all plain. This is my favorite in the series, and also my favorite Jess Franco movie. I really wish I owned this on DVD. This cassette is pretty cool, but the DVD would be nice as well. Alright, let's go on to the second question. The second question was, name your top 5 slasher movies, and this is my current top 5, but I suspect that this will probably change up in the next little bit. There's been some films that have come out that I've really enjoyed. So I'm going to get into that. Alright, so at number 5, we have Cut. And this movie I originally passed up when it first came out because I heard bad things about it, but I found it for a decent price recently and checked it out and really enjoyed it. This movie is about this film that was being made, I think, back in the 80s, and then this guy that was playing the serial killer went nuts and started killing everybody, and they shut down production. And then years later, this film crew decides to finish the movie, and the serial killer comes back. This movie is like a lot of fun. It stars Molly Ringwald, and Kylie Minogue has a cameo at the beginning of the movie. Alright, let's go on to number 4. And this is Triangle, starring Melissa George. This is like a serial killer on a boat thing. And there's also some kind of paranormal stuff going on as well, which is part of the reason why I added this movie. I really enjoyed this one a lot, and I liked the little twists and stuff that happened partway through it. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Okay, at number 3, we have Dr. Giggles. And this is a movie that I only really saw once back on cable in the day, and then I had forgotten about it, and then it finally got a release on DVD. It had been out on DVD for a little bit and out of print, and was going for good money for a minute. This is the Twisted Terror Collection version. This movie stars Larry Drake as a crazy wannabe doctor. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's, kind of like one of those the odd movies that came out in the 90s where horror wasn't really doing as well. But happy to have it in my collection. Okay, at number 2, we have Deadly Blessing. This movie I only saw once before on VHS, but I had never really forgotten it. And then it was hard to get for a bit because it wasn't available on DVD or Blu-ray until earlier this year. This is the DVD copy, although I'm thinking I might upgrade on this one, because when I went to go pick this up originally, they didn't have any the Blu-rays in stock. But I do like the way the slipcover looks on the DVD version, because it doesn't have the blue across the top, which always kind of breaks it up. I mean, they get this nice retro thing going, and then they put that blue bar on the top, which doesn't make sense. Like, we can tell the difference between like a DVD or Blu-ray. They don't need to put the blue on it. But this is probably my favorite Wes Craven movie, even above Nightmare on Elm Street. It's got a really young Sharon Stone in it as well. Alright, Michael Berryman, as you can see right there. Alright, so that brings us to number 1, and that's Candyman. And this is one of my favorite 90s movies, and it's also my favorite Clive Barker adaptation. Twain Todd was great in this movie. I really loved how poetic his killer was. He was kind of like a ghost killer. This kind of was like a play on that whole Bloody Mary thing, like in the mirror. Like you say Candyman 5 times and he shows up and he gotcha. He's got the hook for a hand and all that stuff. This will probably end up on one of those stupid Twilight Time Blu-rays, and will probably go for like 60 to 100 bucks when it comes out. Maybe I'll try to bite the bullet and actually buy a release from Twilight Time before everybody else buys it up. All right, Andrew had one last question, and that was, what horror movie, do you own that you haven't watched yet that you're planning to watch this October? And for me, that's going to be Grotesque. And I really should have watched this one by now. I've had this movie for like a couple years, and I just have never gotten around to watch it. I get really weird that way sometimes, where sometimes I'll buy a movie and I'll watch it right away, and other times I'll buy a movie and it ends up sitting. And this is one of the ones that end up sitting. I don't even know what it's even about or anything. I just remember the liking the cover art. You open up. The artwork's the same as on the cover. All right, so go ahead and sub Andrew. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.